Hello everyone, hope you're doing well. We're going to be having a look at a few data mines today, and the reason is because there's some cool stuff in it. First of all, we have a new event which is coming up. It looks like they're going to be doing a pack for the Philippines. We already talked about the kind of moments of valor that they're probably going to be doing with it, and also they've added the DOGE skins to the files. So yeah, it's a fun time for that. So we'll have a look at those later. They've also changed a bunch of bombs, and supposedly they've also fixed the Rapier, which has been a problem since the last update came out. The initial missile on the Rapier, and probably even the second one, have been absolutely horrific. So it looks like, at least in the files now, there is some changes to it, which should improve it. As always, if you enjoy the content, make sure to subscribe. Let's get started. So the first part of the data mines is about SAP bombs, or semi-armor piercing ones. They've changed the explosive to shrapnel parameters and also a bunch of different stuff too. So the charge to mass ratio is actually decreasing quite a lot. So it's going from 120 to 28%. So this should affect how much damage it's able to do, at least from the shrapnel point of view. Also, the explosive mass to shrapnel penetration, though, has increased. So 120 kilos and onwards get 15, 300 gets 19, 2000 gets 25 millimeters. And the explosive mass to shrapnel damage from 10G onwards is 5 from 4, and then it increases over the time until it gets to 2000 kilos and it gets to 40. So basically what is happening is the ratios are decreasing, but the actual explosive mass to shrapnel penetration and damage is increasing. So it really depends on how you look at this, because it's a reduction in one way and a kind of expansion in another. So depending on what the ratios are overall, it's either a nerf or a buff, and it can be quite hard to work out. The body mass to shrapnel count, as well as you increase in size, is decreasing by quite a lot, basically half across the board. So just massive changes overall. And then also all HE and heat, explosive type to shrapnel parameters charge to mass ratio is going to 18% from 30. So once again, a reduction. Just some massive changes in terms of SAP bombs, and also HE and heat explosive types too, in terms of how they're going to work in the future. Then when it comes to some of the damage models that we've seen across the board, there was a real problem with some of them when the update came out. Basically, if you did damage their tails and stuff, they just didn't break off, and therefore they could just keep flying about. Some of them were fixed last week, and now this week, some more are getting fixed. So basically, the Italian tornadoes, the Aster as well, and also the Marine Flieger, also the Tornado GR Mark 1 and Mark 4. So basically all the tornadoes in the game all had this problem too, and now they're going to fix it. Also, the AM1 flaps and air brakes not getting destroyed properly when the part they're attached to did so is also fixed now, so you could basically use those even though the part attached to them was broken. The DO217s now block landing flaps, which isn't too surprising, and for some reason the F104C RWR was hidden in the aircraft model, so that's now fixed. Still crazy to me that the F104C is the same BR as the A, even though the C is just better in every single way. How odd is that? Then we have the P51D for Israel. All the 50 cals except the leftmost one has a recoil multiplier which is decreased from 1.7 to 1, so therefore they should be better at being accurate, apart from one of the 50 cals, which they've decided isn't, which is kind of funny. They buffed the Su-30SM. Again, the KH-38MT thermal has increased in basically quality. It was 800 to 600. Now it's 1200 to 800. So that's really fun. And that means it'll be easier to use that. So they nerfed it last week. And by nerf, I mean they increased the SP costs that it's required to bring it in. And now they've buffed it again to make it easier to use. I am so sick of having to talk about these absolutely busted vehicles of the highest echelon of the game, which just constantly do not get fixed. And even if they do get a slight nerf to them, they just get a massive buff in about a week anyway. It's just so stupid. I'm sick of it. The whole thing is just dumb. They also changed a bunch of the ANAPGs, basically making it so the max launch missiles predicted positions of 4 lines have been re-added after it was removed during the dev server. So it looks like whatever issue they were having there, they've fixed it. The 2S19s, they had some armor around the power system. This has been increased. It was only 4mm before, now it's 10. The Mr. S's, I played one of them so far. Mobility sucks, it really does, but everything else about it's not too bad. Just wish it was a little bit more mobile. The KV-1 1939, the horizontal armor and the boxes above the tracks, that's now structural steel. And also, they're giving more smoke grenades to the Churchill Mark IV, the NA-75, which is, of course, the one which has the fun American gun, so it actually does damage. That one now has 30 smoke grenades instead of 20, and at the same time, they have changed the Brimstone max launch angles, or I should say they've added them, so therefore it's probably nerfed since it didn't have them previously. It is now 40 degrees on the horizontal and 40 degrees on the vertical, so you have to at least be slightly looking at the target when you're launching them. Also, at the same time, the Rapier. So these are the changes to the Rapier. You have, with the Mark 1E and the Mark II, so both missiles, the shrapnel count has increased more than 8 times. 8 times. The shrapnel penetration and damage has been slightly lowered, but the explosive radius has also been halved, and explosive offset has been increased a bit. So, depending on how much it has actually been, how much penetration it has lost in terms of shrapnel, will depend on how much damage the Rapier missile will do. But this should do a lot more than it did before, since they have increased the amount of shrapnel by 8 times the amount, which is just nuts. Also, the missing HUD weapons text for the F-15s and Tornadoes has come back, and they've also changed the airfields on Afghanistan. So I have to see what that does. For the Philippines, you may remember we talked about a bunch of Tales of Valor skins which were added to the files. A lot of Filipino vehicles won't be coming into the game, but the camos for them will, and some of them being premiums. It looks like they'll probably do a pack alongside of them, and since they've added a new title, which is the Protector of the People, and then also a new decal, which is the Philippine Eagle, it looks like it's going to be coming pretty soon. You also have the new camos, which were attached to the DOGE packs. You may remember there was 3 tiers of DOGE packs. You had the first one, which was just like a decal and a title. Then you had the second one, which was the M1 KVT and the A10A early, plus a bunch of GE and other stuff. That was like $500. And then also you had the big one, which caused a lot of controversy and then has also kind of just disappeared. So they finally added the camos to the files. You have the DOGE A10A early, and also the M1 KVT Doge, which seems to be a bit bugged right now, but you get the kind of idea that they're basically just following what it shows on the decal. A pretty fun camo, not gonna lie, and hopefully people enjoy it. I personally didn't buy the packs just because I thought they were pretty expensive, but I do know people who did, and hopefully they can enjoy it. I'm kind of surprised it didn't come with individual premiums alongside everything else. That's everything in the data mine. I'm really hoping that this comes out tomorrow, and we also get the Tales of Valor or Moments of Valor of the Filipino stuff, because I want to see which period they actually pick. Do they pick the Second World War? Do they pick the more recent battles with ISIS? Do they pick the kind of drug stuff that's been going on? It'll be interesting to see what they decide to do. As always, I hope you have a wonderful day, and I'll see you next time.
I'd just like to thank GMG Smiley, CD Beans, Chieftain Mike, EMN3 Galaxy, Tulio Pontecorvo, Brendan Quinn, Carrion Crow, Gus Irenicus, Pyman, Wartinder, Teddy, Daniel Stanton, Martinez, B. Young, Ozzy Panzer, Alan Hacker, Liam Shear, Opium Prime, Lafouche, Sem, Aslan, Uncle Bean, and Derek R. for supporting the channel.